Hi guys, I am going to talk about Black Christmas today. I have seen it only twice in my life, and I think it's a great movie. I highly recommend it. If you haven't watched it yet and plan to and don't want spoilers, don't continue watching it. That's my dog. You can hear she sounds like a rhinoceros. The beginning of the movie opens with an exterior of a sorority house where there are several girls living there with a house mother who's kind of a mess. She's a little bit drunk. This is Cricket, by the way. You see from the point of view of the killer right away, he's climbing up a trellis to the attic. And that is terrifying to me because this is something that could really happen to you. You know, someone could get into your attic, hide there, and kill you when you're not expecting it. That is a total possibility. Things that are supernatural, not so much. I don't think that there is a Jason Voorhees who is coming to get me in the woods. It's fun to think about that, but it's not going to really happen. This could really happen, and that is a little unsettling. In fact, when you see him go into the house in the attic and you see him open that trap door, that is creepy. I grew up with one of those little trapdoor things in my closet, and I was always worried. It was always like I have to keep an eye on that and on the bedroom door at the same time because someone could come in and get me from either. And I remember trying to decide if I should keep the closet door open or shut it, because if I kept it open, I could see if someone appeared, which would freak me out. But then if I kept it closed, someone could come down when I wasn't looking, and then when I opened the closet door, they would be right there. I don't know. There was no good way. The first person who dies is Claire, and I thought that was a really good scene. She is packing her clothes to go home for Christmas break, and she hears a noise in the closet.
Who is that? Who is it?
And I really, really love the shot where she is up in the attic. Her dead body is up in the attic, rocking in the rocking chair with the bag over her head, and it transitions to that tower. I think it's so beautiful. It's such a great shot. I really like Barb. I think that her delivery is excellent. The playfulness of her character, her sassiness, all of that just comes together so nicely. And I love her little monologue about how everyone's thinking that it's her fault, that Claire is missing and probably dead, but no one's saying it.
You think it's my fault, don't you? Barb, stop it. Don't shit me. That's what you're all thinking. Why don't you just come right out and say it? You think that I drove her away? And if she's dead, you're gonna blame me.
I remember John Saxon as a character from Starsky and Hutch. He played a guy who thought he was a vampire. So if you have not seen that episode, I recommend checking it out. It's pretty awesome. My sister and I love that episode. We reference it a lot. And of course, he's also in A Nightmare on Elm Street, but I did not watch that until after Starsky and Hutch. So to me, he is the vampire guy from Starsky and Hutch. I thought he was great in this role.
Yeah, Nash, what is it?
A phone company's on the other line, sir. They say they got a trace on this one.
Yeah, let's have it.
He says the calls are coming from number 6 Belmont Street.
For Christ's sakes, Nash, you got it wrong. That's where the calls are going into.
That's where they're coming from, too, sir.
Oh, shit.
I don't care for the killer's crazy Sybil type moments where he's got all these different personalities that he's screaming and yelling about. I mean, it is chilling, but it's also slightly obnoxious, and I think it takes me out of the movie a little bit. I much prefer his like creepy singing or his whispery type talking. I feel a little bit of a ripoff, and not a good one, from The Exorcist, which maybe I'm wrong, but that's kind of how I felt about that. I love the moment when they realize that the calls are actually coming from the house and going to the house at the same time. The poor policeman who had called Jess, they didn't want him to tell her this information. They just wanted her to get out of the house. And he did a good job, but then she was too concerned about her friends upstairs, I think is the problem. And so when the police officer loses it and he says, just get out of the house. Don't go upstairs, just leave. It's such a trope that and maybe this is where it originated, I don't know. She, drops the phone and is freaked out and she starts heading upstairs, which is exactly what you're not supposed to do.
I'll get Phil and Bob.
No, don't do that, Jess. Jess, the caller is in the house. The calls are coming from the house. Jess! Jess, get up! And don't go up there. Don't go upstairs, Jess. Miss Bradford! Miss Bradford! Miss Bradford?
I think Barb's death scene is by far the best. It is really powerful, intercut with the caroling children, and the fact that he used a pointy, cute unicorn to murder her was pretty good. And the shot with her arm just falling, I thought was beautiful. The killer. I think that the mislead of having Peter look like the killer was pretty good. I think that they might have overdone it a tiny bit, like the fact that he smashed the piano, but I guess that could be understandable given that he got some news that upset him and he failed his audition or whatever it was that he was doing while he was playing for those people. He didn't do a great job, and I could see the frustration coming out of that. The basement scene is one of my favorites. I love that Jess gets down in the basement and Peter is just peering in at her. It's so creepy. The way that his body is moving, it's so slow. He looks so alien and spider-like with his limbs, and I feel like he is not behaving like a normal person to begin with. And then when you get to the scene where he's wiping away the frost from the glass and it's just looking in at her, and she tries receding into the shadows to hide from him, and she's got her poker in her arm. It's just very chilling. And then he calls her name when he breaks the glass. I don't know, but the sound of the broken glass, and then he's going to get in the basement with her, and you think he's the killer. It's all very, very good. Very well done. At the end, you see Jess in bed, and the cops are there, and Claire's dad is there, Claire's boyfriend is there, and you assume everything's okay. Think that Peter was the killer, and now everything is fine. And you also assume that the police have kind of looked over the entire house and processed the whole crime scene. And they do mention the morgue doesn't have enough space for all the bodies or something like that. And you're thinking, oh, they found so many bodies. But really, they had only found the 2 girls and Peter. They did not find the house mother and Claire up in the attic. And the killer is still up there. So that seems kind of inept. But then they leave Jess laying in the bed to go do other things. They place a patrolman out in front of the house, Claire's dad and boyfriend end up leaving too, so Jess is all alone, and then you hear the phone ring. So I like the open-endedness, although I did hear, I don't know how accurate this is, that there was supposed to be a sequel and she was going to be in it. I don't know about you, but I love the stories where someone is in the house with you. It's so creepy. It's one of the scariest things that I can imagine. And I remember my aunt used to tell a story around the campfire, and it was, I think she called it the drip drip story. And it was about the girl who thought her dog was under her bed, licking her hand to reassure her, but it ended up being a serial killer or escaped prisoner, something like that. That story delightfully terrified me as a child. I loved the story, but then when I thought about it at night, it kind of made me nervous. And I think to this day, that is why I do not sleep with my arms outside of the covers. Or if I do, I will not let them hang over the bed. Same with my feet. The idea that, the other thing with that is Pet Sematary, when Judd is walking around looking for Gage, and Gage takes the scalpel and slices his Achilles tendon. That, for a long time after that, I was worried that something could be under my bed ready to cut my ankle, and that's one of those cringy things for me. Like, I'm one of those people who something happens and I imagine how it would feel if it happened to me. I hate that. I hate that sensation. Not to get too far off topic, but there was also this book I used to read a lot, and it was about sled dogs. I don't remember the author, I'll have to look it up. He was talking about the Iditarod, and he fell off of the sled, and I think he fell over some sort of a cliff, and on the way down, a branch of some sort wedged itself under his kneecap, and it ripped the kneecap off. That is one of the most terrifying things I remember reading as a child. That idea of the kneecap coming off. It just, even now I can imagine how it feels, and it freaks me out. So all in all, Cricket watched with me, so I guess she gets to talk about it too. All in all, I love this movie. I don't own it, but I should. I have borrowed it from the library twice, but I really do think I need to own it because I enjoy it a lot. And I enjoyed it more the second time because I think the first run through, it was kind of unsatisfying because we don't know who the killer is, and that is an interesting aspect to it. I think I was reading, someone had criticized it, saying it's kind of pointless and, you know, nothing happens and we don't find out why this person's doing it, etc. But I think that actually lends to the overall effect of the film, and I really recommend it. So that's it. Have a spooky day.